you're a professional?
Are you?
That's it, Clark. Show 'em who's boss.
Oh, we're all in this together.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the Clark Griswold YouTube channel. I, of course, am Mr. Clark Griswold, and if you are a first-timer, then welcome to the channel. If you are a current subscriber, thank you, old or new. I appreciate you guys all. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please click that subscribe button down below and hit that bell. That bell gives you notifications for when I send out videos just like this one, our daily setup videos. I also send out top 5 plays for the day, informational videos, motivational videos, learning tools, all kinds of other stuff. You can also follow me on Twitter at Mr. Clark Griswold. So let's get right into this, guys. Our watch list for Monday, April 11th. There is a ton of inside bars, which is my favorite candle to play. I'll tell you right now, inside bars basically show consolidation within the stock. Okay, so what that means is inside bar doesn't break the high or the low of the previous candle, and that's true on any time frame, whether we're looking at a second chart, minute chart, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, doesn't matter. Inside bar is an inside bar. So what an inside bar is basically acts like a spring, okay, and it coils and it gets tight, and it gets ready to explode on the next candle to one direction or the other, and we have a ton of those on our setups for today. Okay, so the first one I've got it on is SPY. SPY is an inside bar. This day in the week, yes, it's red, but until Monday is done, we're not going to know if this is a continuation red or if we flip to green. But the month, quarter, and year are all red, okay? And if you're looking for this indicator, you can click on your indicators tab, type in time frame continuity, and the author is Board Rider B, okay? So that is what that indicator is right there. Let's start getting into the triggers for SPY. If we want to go long on this one at calls, we can take it at 450.63, and we can short this with puts at 445.97. I don't recommend shorting with common shares. Excuse me. Just unless you actually know how to short shares, I wouldn't do it, okay? So now let's talk about triggers before we move on to the next plays, just so you guys are aware. So our triggers are if we trend down and break this yellow line, this trigger, our targets are the preceding wicks. So here and here, and that's what those green lines represent. Okay, and that's where we take our profit on those lines. Now, don't get me wrong, if we're somewhere in this range and you're at 10, 15, 20% and you only have 1 or 2 contracts, feel free to take your 15 and 20% until you build your account up, okay? And then same way to the upside, if we're looking target 1, target 2 is way up high, okay? Next up on the list, another one of my favorite stocks in addition to SPY is NEO. NEO has some really big runs. I also am a long-term investor in NEO with a lot of common shares, but inside bar on NEO again, and the time frame showing to the downside, okay? So if this does go to the downside tomorrow, our trigger is 1982, and our first target is this pink line. Now this pink line represents our weekly swings, okay? So if I go to the weekly chart, we have this big outside bar, and this pink line is the trigger for the weekly. So if I hop back to the day and we trigger on the day, we're likely to hit targets, the first target, and trigger the weekly, okay? So you can look at possibly swinging NEO for a couple days if you so choose. Second target, again, I've marked out here. If we do go to the upside, we take calls at $20.72, and here is our first target, and then the preceding wick again here. And then this one's a little bit different. I don't think we get this high, but if we do, this becomes your third target because it's a gap. Okay, the gap in between here and here, the bottom becomes your third target. Okay, So if you guys understand that, great. If not, leave a comment down below. I'll try and explain it a little better in another video. If you like what I'm showing you guys so far, please give me a thumbs up. And again, if you think it sucks, then by all means give me a thumbs down, but let me know why so I can make the videos better for you guys. Okay, so that is Neo. We'll move on to Nike. I think Nike's got a double inside bar. We do. So again, you know this will be on our top 5 list for sure. Nike's got a double inside bar. The time frame, the week, month, quarterly, yearly, daily are all red. We can take calls on this one at 129.97, puts at 127.86. And you guys got to remember, the inside bars show consolidation. So this thing's been tightening. It's on a tightening range for 2 straight days. And we're getting ready to explode either up or down. And we'll see what happens on Monday. If we do go up, again, this green line is our first target, the top of the preceding wick. But because there is a gap here, the bottom of the gap becomes our next target where we can take profits, okay? And I explained in one of my other videos that I did over the weekend, exits and entries and stop losses, okay? So go take a look at that video if you guys want to dig a little deeper into this stuff, okay? Alcoa AA is up next. We have an inside bar on Alcoa. We can take calls at 86.86 or puts at 83.60. AAL is American Airlines. Again, inside bar. So we can take calls at 17.02, puts at 16.59. And you can see here the time frame is all to the downside. ABNB is Airbnb. So this one's a little different. An inside bar followed by a 2 down that finished green. So we'll look for a rev, it's called a rev strat. We're going to look for this to rebound and reverse to the upside. So we can take calls at 164.94. There's our target. And then again, our triggers are top of the wick, and because of the gap, bottom of the wick, okay? AFRM, again, another inside bar, time frame to the downside. We can go long with calls at 39.56, puts at 37.33. BBBY is Bed Bath & Beyond, inside bar, calls at 2012, puts at 19.27. BIDU has an inside bar with a shooter, okay? So shooters are a bearish pattern. So we have item number 1, we have an inside bar, but it's also a shooter. Item number 2, we have time frame to the downside. Item number 3, we've got a weekly trigger here. So Baidu is something that we can look for tomorrow to trend further downwards and possibly trigger our weekly swing plays, okay? CL is Colgate-Palmolive, inside bar, calls at 80.58, puts at 79.82. CMCSA is Comcast. Comcast has a 2 down that finished green. So we can look for calls at 47.59. CSCO, that's Cisco. Cisco has a 2 up that finished red. Time frame to the downside. We can take puts at 54.02. Trigger 1 or target 1 is here, and this blue line is our trigger for our monthly swings on Cisco. So if I just take you to the monthly chart real quick, and you can see this should actually be down here, and that should be there. There we go. So that, ladies and gentlemen, inside bar on the month of March. April, we're still sitting currently on an inside bar. So if we go back to the daily chart, there is your trigger for the monthly, okay? Cisco, next up is Disney. Disney has an inside bar. Time frame to the downside. Puts at 130.63, calls at 133.12 if it reverses with a 2-1-2 reversal up. Otherwise, we have a 2-1-2 continuation down. Okay, DocuSign, DOCU, inside bar again. We can take calls at 104.94, puts at $100.59. And I guess if you guys are looking at the way I play the option plays, we'll use this as an example on Facebook. So Facebook has an inside bar, time frame to the downside. So if we do trend down, this is our target here. sorry, at the green line. So we trigger in at 220.09. My strike price is going to be 219, okay? And my expiry date is the next closest expiry date, okay? So whether that's Wednesday, Friday, Monday, whatever it is, that's how I take it. If you take an expiry date that's a couple days out, it gives you a little bit more leeway if the stock doesn't do what you think it's going to do or what the candlesticks are telling us it's going to do. You won't get as much profit, but you will also control your losses, okay? So that's what the strike prices are. IBM, inside bar, we can take calls at 128.80, puts at 127.27. IWM is ETF for the Russell 2000. Inside bar, calls at $200.32, puts at 197.50. Time frame to the downside currently. LCID, it's pretty liquid stock, cheap premiums to get into. Inside bar, time frame to the downside, puts at 21.55, calls at 22.34. Netflix has higher premiums, does have an inside bar again, time frame to the downside. Calls at 354.88, puts at 362.48. PFE is Pfizer, and Pfizer I'm actually going to take out of here as a non-play. Oh, sorry, you know what? I had Pfizer in here for a reason. So let's go back and take a look at this. Here's the top of our broadening formation. And what you notice happening on Pfizer is we hit the top, hit the bottom, hit the top, we come back down. Now this could have been a smaller broadening formation, whether you want to take it anywhere in this range, okay? So here to here, or here to here. But we've come down, we've come back up and tagged. Look at this. Tagged exactly, tagged it exactly, tagged it exactly, okay? So this is something that we can look for a reversal onto the downside, okay? Due to exhaustion and higher highs, okay? So I'm going to change that to yellow. This is an interesting one. We don't get a bunch of these all the time. So top of the broadening formation, we can look for this to possibly reverse here tomorrow, okay? Despite what this is showing, we're at the top of the broadening formation. So we can look for puts on Pfizer at 54.46, and Pfizer does also have cheap premiums, okay? Pins is Pinterest, has an inside bar, calls at 23.99, puts at 23.10. Palantir has a inside bar, calls at 13.04, puts at 12.60. RBLX is Roblox, inside bar, calls at 45.44, puts at 42.77. SNAP is Snap with an inside bar, time frame to the downside. We have our weekly swing triggers here as well. So if we do continue to the downside, our first target is the trigger for the weekly, okay? So puts at 35.41, calls at 36.83. SoFi Technologies, SOFI, again, inside bar, time frame to the downside, puts at 7.78, calls at 8.10. First trigger, target to the downside is here. Next one is here. And again, we have this gap. So our next target to the upside would be right here to fill this gap, okay? Square is next, SQ, inside bar. And I said there are a ton of inside bars. I'm going to have a little bit of trouble picking some top fives here because I love inside bars so much. I'm really going to have to dive in to see which ones I think are the best plays for us tomorrow. Time frame to the downside, calls at 127.50, puts at 122.12. Uber Technologies inside bar, 32.54 calls, 31.56 puts. XEL. XEL is the same thing that I showed you with Pfizer. So again, higher high, higher high, higher high. Okay? So is it possible that tomorrow we continue higher and we hit here? It definitely is. But we can look for puts due to exhaustion risk right here. And I think for Excel Energy, this is their all-time high right here at 75.43, okay? So we can look for a possible downtrend on Monday on XEL. Adobe ADBE, inside bar, we can take puts at 443.37, calls at 454.41. Alibaba, inside bar with a shooter, okay? So we can take calls at 106.47, puts at 103.26. PayPal, inside bar, down time frame to the downside, calls 113.25, puts at 110.25. And that's it for the list, guys. Keep your eyes open for the top 5 list that will be coming out as well. I hope you guys have a great trading day on Monday. Good luck, and we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.